This concept of safety that we hear so much about in our society, keeping people safe, keeping people safe. Oh, this is implemented to keep you safe. This order, this dictate, whatever it is, this law, this legislation is being signed to keep you safe. You can't leave your house for safety reasons. Wear a mask. It's going to keep you safe. All of this talk of safety. And what is safety? Safety is an illusory construct created to control people. It's an illusory construct created to keep us from seeing who we are. Physical safety is 100% an illusion. Let me say that again. Physical safety is 100% an illusion. There's no such thing as physical safety. This idea that you can be safe physically, you can be safe from yourself. Ultimately, what it comes down to is a lie. It's a deception. The only true safety, the only real safety that we can actually have is psychological. As long as we're distorted in here and inverted in here, as long as we don't understand who we are and what's taking place within us, not only spiritually, our spiritual nature, but psychologically, as long as we don't understand how the psyche works, how the mind works, then we will be inevitably entranced and trapped in this idea and this concept of safety, because we will be embedded in the fear of death. So we won't understand that safety isn't a real thing. And the only safety that can ever be, is derived from understanding how your mind works and cleansing your psyche and living in awareness and not feeding certain thoughts that lead to manifestations and not hurting other people because you're just hurting yourself. So as long as you think that physical safety is a thing, you get all your guns, you get all your supplies, you make sure you have a lot of money, so you stay safe, you put the mask on, you do this, you do that to ensure safety. But as long as you're distorted in here and you don't understand natural law and you don't understand how this world works, you don't understand how this reality works, as long as you're committing wrong actions every single day, as long as your beliefs are completely immoral, as long as you're selling yourself every single day and you're, destroying yourself and annihilating yourself. And I'm not just talking about just you as an individual. I'm talking about yourself as in annihilating and stomping on other people's faces for a paycheck or for whatever reason, to defend your beliefs, to reinforce your beliefs. Then you can't have safety, because your actions are breeding grounds for severe consequences, and which are inescapable. And like I've said in previous videos, this entire reality is constructed to keep you from facing yourself, to keep you from facing your suffering. And that's not right. That's completely wrong. It should be the opposite. Instead of shielding one another from our suffering by reinforcing one another's belief systems, by reinforcing one another's behaviors and their victim mentalities and their lack of responsibility and their, the way they carry themselves every single day. Instead of just babying and coddling one another, we need to be advising and helping we need to be guiding and helping one another to face our suffering, to face suffering in general. Because it's through our suffering, it's through the hell that we create for ourselves, it's through the fire that we become purified. And on the other side lies our true self. We lie inside suffering, through suffering, not away from it, not avoiding it, not trying to dodge, all the consequences and the results that we bring upon our heads based off of our behavior and based off of how we carry ourselves in this world. But we have a society that keeps us from not only learning the lessons that we have right in front of our faces, the things, the experiences that we put ourselves through every single day, ultimately are lessons to teach us something. But we don't allow, this society does not condone people teaching lessons, teaching one another lessons. And you know what? The truth is, there's lessons being taught every single day. But people don't see it that way. People don't see this like getting in the car accident or having $5 in your bank account or whatever it is. People don't see them as lessons. People don't see these things as teachers. People don't see the person that just, flipped you off on the driving by as a teacher. As an opportunity to get you to see what's going on inside of yourself, to watch that reaction, to watch the intelligence taking place in the moment. People don't see things as lessons, but we have an entire society that's set up to keep you from learning, to keep the individual from growing, from evolving. It's set up to keep people in this stagnation, this eternal stagnant place, this swamp, and just keep you there. And give them alcohol, and give them all these distractions and escapes. Give them Netflix, give them a smartphone, give them the education system, give them the news, give them authority, give them government, give them all these proxy mommy and daddies. Just keep them distracted, keep them distracted, keep them distracted. Because if you don't keep them distracted, inevitably the individual is going to turn inwards. We don't spend enough time with ourselves. We don't spend enough time just in silence, in reflection. The whole ancient world and all these in all these ancient traditions and all these not even ancient traditions, past few hundred years, like Rosicrucianism, all these Hermeticism in general, is teaching all these allegories, all these fairy tales, all these things, talking about the mind, talking about the cleansing of the psyche, reflection, Isis and Osiris, right? The three colors, or there was four colors, the black, the white, the yellow, and the red, but the main colors, black, white, and red, black talking about ignorance, talking about darkness, referring to the lack of awareness of the mind, the lack of the awareness of the subconscious mind, the infinite universal mind. White symbolizing the cleansing of the psyche, the initiation process, the reflection, the reflective aspect, watching yourself with awareness, watching yourself. And then red representing the complete 100% unity in the subconscious, within the universal mind. An individual has tapped back into that place and cannot be steered anymore in any direction besides where their intuition is guiding them, where their heart is guiding them. And I said that because I'm talking about the importance of reflection, the importance of being self-aware. And in this world, this crazy, insane world, where we're just creating nonstop these distractions, these constant lures to keep us from going inward, to keep us from actually drawing our attention within the psyche, to observe why we think certain ways, why we behave certain ways, why we react to certain things. Because it all leads to a belief. It all leads to some type of fear. And if we can sit still with ourselves enough and stop believing and buying into all the bullshit that everyone's talking about all the time on the screen and just in day-to-day life in your environment, being completely cold and compelled to do things because the crowd's doing them, because the masses are doing them. If we can just stay still and listen to that still small voice within, no matter what, then we can start learning. Then we can start growing. Then we can start actually becoming our own teacher. And we can start allowing life to teach us. And we can start allowing other people to teach us. And, most people don't know that they're teachers. Most people don't know that they're, the way they behave in all these dirty and nasty ways, and all these disgusting and immoral ways, that we can use that as conscious beings. We can use that to learn and grow. And I'm not saying that their actions are right. I'm not saying that a lot of people's actions are, their belief systems and things like that. They lead to immoral behaviors. They lead to terrible monstrosities on this planet. Yes, they do. But ultimately, I'm not going to be torn down by other people's decisions. I'm going to stay strong in what I am. And I'm going to learn from my experiences. And I'm going to continue to do so. And that's the mindset that we have to have. So back to safety and back to this dynamic of the society that we live in, not allowing us, not doing whatever it can to keep us from actually facing ourselves, doing whatever it can to keep us stuck in this cycle that every time we have this opportunity to face our suffering, and I talk about suffering because the suffering is the fire. Suffering is the purifying fire that if we could be one with, we would see transformation take place on a psychological and spiritual level and a physical level. But the program is, this is the program. When you see suffering, it's not yours. Somebody else did it to you. It's someone else's fault. And run away and escape into something. And on this planet right now, this modern day, there's a million different things that you can fall into, a million different things set up to distract you. And then to tie all this back into safety, one cannot have true safety until one turns their attention inward and starts, for lack of better terms, building their awareness and starts becoming aware of what's taking place inside of them internally. You're not going to get safety out there. Nothing can save you from yourself. Nothing can save you from all the things that you reject within yourself. Nothing can save you from your shadow. And your shadow is just your repressed true self. So your shadow is your true self that you've repressed and you attempted to kill long ago in childhood. Or maybe it was in your teenage years, or maybe it was in your adulthood. And I feel that we have a decision. There's a monumental decision that takes place in our lives that we choose to either stay hardwired and plugged into the matrix, or we choose the path less traveled, or we choose the pathless land of truth. No one can save us from ourselves. No one can help us in this work, in the work of facing and allowing ourselves to grow from the suffering that we manifest for ourselves to grow. We get into this really, really nasty habit of automatically thinking, oh, this is painful or this hurts, so therefore it's bad. It needs to be avoided at all costs. And when you do that, you sacrifice the teacher. You sacrifice the dynamic, the fire that is there that you have brought to yourself to burn away the dynamics and the aspects that don't belong, that are just covering you up, your true self up. So as long as you're in that cycle, as long as you're not facing yourself, and as long as you're not turning your gaze inward, and as long as you continue to eat everything that the society feeds you and your parents feed you and your beliefs feed you, you'll never have safety. You'll never even know what it means to be safe. And you, quite frankly, you'll never be safe. Because ultimately, the most fortified safe house on the planet cannot save you from yourself internally. It's either you face yourself or you remain a victim to circumstance and a victim to all the suffering and all the things that you're bringing upon yourself.